Your perfectionism has probably helped you and has probably hurt you. But if you've ever really thought about what's going on in that perfectionist mind, what is going on that keeps you stuck in that behavior, that keeps you in indecision, and maybe you're stuck, and it definitely keeps you seeing what's wrong rather than what's right, right? You keep seeing how every little thing that's just not as perfect as you'd like it to be. And that, even if you don't realize it, is keeping you stuck and preventing you from having the spiritual growth, the spiritual development that you desire. Because no matter where you are in your level of consciousness or awareness, everybody deep down inside is looking to grow spiritually. Okay. Now, if you're an overthinking, high achieving woman, it might not be top of mind for you. But I will tell you, if you want to get out of that overthinking, perfectionist mindset, the path of awakening is the answer for you. But my spirit guides are going to start to help you with that. And we're going to invoke them here in a minute because you have a spirit guide too. Everyone has a spirit guide. I have a spirit guide. You have a spirit guide. In fact, you have even more than one. You have spirit guides that come in maybe just to help you with a challenge or a purpose you want to manifest, and you have some that are here for your entire life. But we're going to talk to the spirit guides today because they actually came to me and said that you need to know, if you have perfectionism, you need to know what's really happening in your mind so that you can become aware of when you're caught in it so you can overcome it and rely on spiritual truth, on your connection with higher power, so that you can develop and create the life that you truly want. Not one that just is okay, or one where things are good but you feel like something's missing, but the one that you feel like fulfilled and joyful and happy about what you're being, who you're being, what you're doing, and what you're having in your life. That is what it is all about. And your perfectionism, your perfectionist mind is what's keeping you from that. And so the spirit guides, if you hadn't seen the previous one, we talked about perfectionism. Today we're going to talk about your perfectionist mind. And then next live, we're going to talk about how do you actually overcome the perfectionism. And as we're doing all of this, we're going to be doing creation time. We're going to invite in the spirit guides here in a minute, doing a little ritual that I do to bring them in. And we're going to bring them into not only my space here, but into your space wherever you are. It's not just the physical space, but also your inner space, because that's the most important space to awaken to your spirit guides. Hi, I'm Deepa, and I call myself the Creative Mystic, and welcome to my Sacred Art Studio. I come here and meet here to connect with you, to connect with the guides, to help you in your path of awakening, to help you in that process, to help you feel inspired to stay on your path of awakening, because what I find is so many people give up. So that what we're going to talk about today, what the spirit guides have come in and said they want to talk about. We're going to see who really shows up today, but I was guided by Yogananda and the Heart Chakra Angel to actually share this with you. And we're going to talk about what's really happening in your perfectionist mind so that you can have a deeper understanding, because deeper understanding is what helps you with change. We're going to talk about or I should say, they said they want to bless you with the ability to start to see how it's trapping you, because they're telling me that the first place of making any transformation or change to creating a life you love is raising your level of awareness. And part of what raises your level of awareness is having knowledge of the spiritual truth and how to apply it, okay? So we're going to be talking about some of the knowledge so you can learn to start applying it. And they want to give you intuitive downloads that come through as we are creating. And one of the reasons why I create here in my art studio with the spirit guides is because the creative process of painting with spiritual practices is what opened up my spiritual gift or gifts of seeing visions of these spirit guides, of being able to create them into spirit guide portals, and giving you the divine higher guidance that comes through these spirit guides to me to share with you, because they come here and they're in your life because they want to help you. They want to make your path of awakening faster, easier, more inspiring, and most of all, successful. And they say so many people fall off their path of awakening. And your path of awakening is, there's not necessarily one spiritual, like religious organization. It is about what resonates with you and what helps you grow spiritually to awaken your spiritual gifts, to become aware of the spiritual truths that are operating in your lives, and most importantly, apply them so that you become the spiritual being that you truly are. You become, that energy of the divine, which is love, joy, peace, calmness, wisdom, divine power, divine light, divine sound, that you'll find that those aspects you'll see are awake within you more, because you're becoming more awake to your oneness with spirit in your awakening. Okay? So, in my Sacred Art Studio, we welcome you in because it is a place where we connect with spirit through the spirit guides, use our creative powers with spirit to grow spiritually, have divine experiences, and most importantly, help you get out of your head and into your heart. Because when we're in our head, which is part of perfectionism, right? You're all caught up in your head. You cannot possibly know the divine guidance. You don't know what is the truth for you. You're caught in the perfectionism. So we're going to talk about that more, okay? So let's start with invoking the spirit guides, okay? So if you haven't been here before, I ring a bell to ring in and invite in the spirit guides. In India, it's a tradition, a ritual where they ring the bell to say, hello, God. And we're going to ring this bell and say hello to the spirit guides. Specifically, we're going to say hello to Yogananda and the Heart Chakra Angel, because they came in before, because when I plan out these lives, I ask them what they want me to talk about, and someone comes in. Now, it may be them who comes in, it may be someone else. We're going to invite in the spirit guides, your spirit guides, because you may have a spirit guide that needs to come speak to you. Now, obviously, I'm not with you, or I'm not talking directly to you, but we're going to venture into invoking in the spirit guides for everyone who sees this live and for everyone who sees it in a replay, because it is about the beauty about technology is that it transcends time and space. You don't have to actually always be live. Now, you would if you want to ask a question live, but you can gain the benefits of the live by watching the replay, because all of the blessings of the spirit guides gets infused into the recording. That is my intention, that the blessings come through, whether you see it live or see it in the recording. But the beauty about coming live is you can ask a question, put it up in the comments, get actual feedback from me or the spirit guides to help you in your path of awakening. And we come to this creation time to help you connect with the spirit guides, to help you connect with your higher guidance. And so that's what they always want me to share with you, all right? So let's just take a moment now. And as long as you're not driving or doing anything that you have to see, close your eyes. And you close your eyes and you focus on your breath, taking that deep belly breath where the belly rises with the inhalation and falls with the exhalation. Doing that breathing in and out at a pace that's comfortable for you. And on the next deep belly inhalation, just draw on the energy of focus. And on the exhalation, let go of any distractions, any business of the day. And just continuing to breathe in and out, letting go of all the distractions and all the busyness. Drawing your focus inward. And if you can, focus it at the point between the eyebrows. And on the next deep belly inhalation, draw in the energy of divine presence, specifically the divine presence of Yogananda and the heart chakra angel. And as you focus on that energy, I'm going to ring the bell. And as we ring the bell, you say hello to Yogananda, hello to the heart chakra angel. Hello, Yogananda. Hello, heart chakra angel. We invoke thy presence into this sacred space, this sacred time, this sacred inner space and outer space. And then say hello, inviting any spirit guide that needs to come and bless you and guide you. With each strike of the bell, feel the resonation of the bell carrying the blessings, the guidance of the spirit guides. And allow yourself to receive that vibration, which is receiving their blessings and their guidance. And just allow that energy to penetrate every fiber of your being, knowing the spirit guides are awakening yourself to your true spiritual self, to the guidance of your spirit guides, to the blessings of the divine. And as you hear the bell beginning to fade into the distance, say thank you. Thank you to your spirit guides. Thank you, Yogananda. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So before we get started, one of the things that the spirit guides wanted me to do is in this creation time is instead of me always oil painting, and that may be what we do today, but they wanted me to, today they're actually talking about this differently. They want me to share with you, there are so many ways of receiving messages from the spirit guides. So today, they had asked me to do this a few weeks ago, and I got this spinning wheel that you can spin. I wrote down a lot of different types of creative processes I love doing. It's got everything from oil paint, watercolor, draw, finger paint, clay. It even says pick, you pick. We're going to invite in the spirit guides, whoever is here to do today, to talk about what's going on in your perfectionist mind. That's going to help you become more aware and able to spot when you're in it so that you can actually get out of it, okay? But we're going to invite in the spirit guide of Yogananda and the heart chakra angel, and we're going to spin this wheel that they're going to guide us on what creative process that we're going to work on today. Now, you may not have this at home. That's okay. This is about when I start to do this creative process and connect with the spirit guides, usually there's some kind of spiritual truth that's coming out in something that we're doing, and that's why they want us to do this. So I'm going to spin this wheel, and we're going to see what they want us to do today, okay? So I'm spinning that wheel with Yogananda and Heart Chakra Angel, stopping it where they are guiding us to do, and they're actually wanting us to oil paint still, so we're going to oil paint today. I keep waiting for one day they're going to ask me to do clay, because I love doing. I made this little hand, this little thumbs up. Wasn't planning to say this now, but if you haven't subscribed my channel and you like what you're seeing as we go along, please subscribe. It all helps me, and turn on your notifications if you subscribe, because if you turn on your notifications, then what happens is when I do the next live, it will send you notification that there's going to be another live, and there's going to be another live for this, right? Because we're going to talk about how to overcome perfectionism. And then obviously the thumbs up, all the likes help my channel, so if you can do that, if you like this, please do that too. All right? So Yogananda came into me before. We're going to tune in right now. I'm going to make sure this is what he still wants me to talk about. But he had given me to talk to you about what was going on in the perfectionist mind, because he says you have to understand what's happening so that you become aware and you can catch yourself, right? You become aware. The first step to any type of change, to any kind of transformation, to any kind of true learning is the awareness that you need to do something different. The awareness that something isn't working. The awareness that this is maybe harming me more than hurting me. And so in perfectionism, they're wanting me to share my own story about, I say I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I always felt that my perfectionism was serving me, right? Was making me a better person, was making me a better employee, was making me a better entrepreneur when I got into my own business. And it wasn't until I started to see how it was actually holding me back. Even though there were ways that it made me do, it got me to do an excellent job. The way I was raised, I was, my parents were very critical of things, and it taught me to see what was always wrong so I could fix it before they would criticize it. And that created a perfectionist mindset in me, perfectionism. So it would catch me and get me, like, I would be doing things and be trying to make it perfect, and then I'd be up for hours trying to make it perfect. Have you ever been there? Where something is pretty darn good, and you got a deadline, and you got to make it by that certain deadline. Like when I was in outside sales, straight commission sales, I would have big corporate accounts I was going after, and I'd have to do a presentation, and I would get caught in perfectionism, trying to make every little thing perfect, and sometimes be up all night long to get it, and then go to the next day to the presentation not feeling quite as good as I could be because I hadn't slept. You ever been there? Whereas the perfectionism, maybe you didn't stay up all that long, but maybe it's keeping you where you're not getting the rest you need, or you're worrying so you don't sleep as well. Okay, so it took me to become aware that, I've always thought this is helping me, but it's actually hurting me when I would get caught in perfectionism and stay up all night to get something done and even then when I was going, I still felt like there were some things that could be better still. Ever been there where that happened? Well, Yogananda wants you to get that that's the perfectionist mindset. It gets you caught in this trap of always looking at what is wrong rather than what is right. And he says the first thing in wanting to manifest and create a life you love is you have to start looking at what is right. What you do right, how you are is right, what your desires are right, not wrong. And the perfectionist mindset is a mindset that something is wrong. So I'm curious. I'd love it if anybody wants to share. Are you a perfectionist? And if you are, have you gotten caught in any of it? I'm going to put it in the comments so I can see if you put anything up there. If not, that's okay, but maybe you know somebody. But perfectionism sometimes will hide itself in ways that make it seem like maybe you're not a perfectionist. If you find yourself giving up, not caring about it at all, sometimes that is driven by perfectionism. Now, if you're an overthinking, high-achieving person, woman, you probably have something a little bit more like what I had, okay? But if you're an overthinking person who is not identified as someone who has high aspirations or goals, because I tell people if you're on the spiritual journey, on the spiritual path, you're high achieving, because only people who have the aspiration to I want to be enlightened in this lifetime, or I want to grow spiritually to this place of total bliss or oneness, you have to have high achieving aspirations in you, okay? So Yogananda wants me to explain more of what is really happening inside your mindset. Because your mindset, when you get programmed for perfectionism, the first thing he wants me to tell you is you got programmed for perfectionism. Nobody is just born this way. Life events, experiences, could be traumatic experiences, created this programming in you. So you are not stuck with it. And that was the first thing I had to learn was I thought I was born that way. I thought I'm stuck with this is just the way I am, but you're not. Perfectionism, the perfectionist mindset, is your subconscious programming. it comes from experiences or events in your life that create it. So he wants me to share my experience again. He's saying because he says that will give me maybe you a little aha to go, I had maybe didn't have the exact same experience that Deepa had, but I can see where maybe some of my life experiences created this. So I mentioned earlier, I grew up in a household where my parents were quite critical. If you happen to be Asian backgrounds tend to, want you to do everything to excellence, okay? But mine didn't just want excellence. They criticized and saw what was wrong and everything because unfortunately they got programmed that way and they didn't know any better. So when I was growing up, every little thing I did caused me to try to make it perfect, okay? If my father gave me a chore and I went and did it and I might have been only 7, if I didn't do it perfectly, he would make me do it over and over and over and over. So it created me looking at, I got to be perfect. Otherwise, I get punished of having to do it several times over and over, okay? My mother, she hated crumbs on the counter. If there were crumbs on the counter or anything out of place because she liked everything just so, she would get upset and scream. And so it made me, as a little kid, try to make everything perfect, 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 all the crumbs, wipe them up, make sure everything's in the perfect place so that Mom will be happy, okay? So I'm not blaming my parents, but this is what happened in my life that helped me to go, oh, this is why I have this perfectionist programming. So your perfectionist mindset is a mindset. You're not born with it. You're not stuck with it. It can be healed and it can be changed. And that's one of the things Yogananda wants you to really get, that if you have the perfectionist mindset, that once you realize that the ways it's holding you back, because you might be where I was, where, hey, this is serving me. It's making me good at this and good at that, making me do the excellent job I want to do. But there's also ways it can hook you even into not following what's true in your heart, because whatever programming you got in that perfectionist mindset is keeping you stuck in a belief system that may not let you step into your truth. And that's what was happening for me, was that it was preventing me from stepping into my truth about the level of my connection and my desire of growing spiritually. And it wasn't until I started to start to heal that and let it go, which is many years ago, that I started to go deeper and deeper in the spiritual path. I started spending, a couple of hours in the morning doing spiritual practices because I desired to. Because other people might have said that was a waste of time, because I was in outside sales wanting to, making more money, and that didn't hook up, like doing more meditation and chanting and all the spiritual study that I didn't hook up with that belief. But when I got honest with myself and started letting go of that perfectionist mindset is when it started to change, okay? So one of the things that Yogananda wanted me to talk about is why this, okay, so we talked about you got the professional mindset is programming, right? But what happens of why you get caught in it, right? You start seeing something, and I don't know why Yogananda's telling me to share this, but he's bringing it up to my mind that I was watching a cooking show one time, and a woman was in there, and she it was a dessert show, and she was trying to make this, and you could see she was a perfectionist, and she was trying to get this, she kept trying to get it perfect, and because she was getting so fixated on it being perfect rather than done, that she ran out of time and couldn't complete her dessert in the way that she was supposed to for the contest, because there's a deadline, right, on a contest. Well, even in life, right, when you work in any kind of business, whether it's you work for somebody or you have your own business, and if you have your own business, you probably create the deadlines, but if you never make them, then nothing ever gets launched, right? If you have a job, if you don't make those deadlines, what happens? Your boss is going to ding you with a bad review or something, where it could affect your ability to get a raise or to get to be promoted, any of those things. So that's where you have to start to look at, okay, is this actually harming me or is it helping me? is it causing me to not know what my truth is because that's what's so important? Or is it helping me to get to what's true? Because we're all on this spiritual journey to follow what's true in our heart. What's true in our heart is our true spiritual self, giving us little inklings of what to do and what to follow. So what happens, Yogananda says, is that in your brain, when you get programmed, okay, you have a brain. I'm going to draw a little brain here. I'm not a scientist, but here's our brain, okay? Of course, this is not correct, okay? There's your brain. And what happens is programming happens, and there are neural pathways that fire off. And when you get programmed with this perfectionist mindset, what happens is a groove gets put into your brain. See, it's this little red groove. That's your perfectionist mindset that's going and telling you that everything has to be perfect. You look at what's wrong so you can make it perfect. And it keeps, and what happens is it keeps going in that groove. Okay, it goes around and around and around and around. And what happens? Now that groove, that groove is, are neural pathways. Okay, neural pathways. So this is the thing about when you have the perfectionist mindset. Neural pathways get created, and those neural pathways fire. They fire off, okay? They fire off, and they're going off, right? These neural pathways are firing off. Boing, 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 boing. Neural pathways are firing off, see? And that groove in your brain gets deeper and deeper and deeper and wider. And it becomes the predominant firing and groove in your brain. So that when anything happens, that groove, boing, gets fired off. And it just goes into that mode of however your perfectionism shows up, okay? You may have it where it shows up in everything you do, and you may have it that shows up in a certain area of your life, but that groove gets created, and then what happens? Really hard to get out of that groove. Like think about if you're in like a groove where there's a valley, right? And you're stuck in it. Like, oh, if you're, I not that I was a skateboarder, but you know how on the sidewalk there's little grooves? And if your wheel were to get caught in one of those grooves, it's really hard to get them out, right? Or you're riding your bike and there's a groove on the road and your tire gets stuck in it. And then it's like hard to get out. You can get out, but it's hard, right? Well, that's what happens in your brain. You get that groove, and the longer you've been having that perfectionist mindset of it firing off in that direction, the harder it is for you to get out of it. And when you understand that, you can start to recognize that, I'm in that perfectionist groove, that mindset. Now, you have to be able to recognize what your key things are. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but we're also going to start doing the creating, because we're going to see what else comes through from Yogananda or the spirit guides of what's supposed to come through about this, because there's more to it. They're telling me there's a lot more to it than what we've said so far. But the first thing I want you to get is the neural pathways, okay? We're going to set up this thing here and start painting. We're going to work on these healing hands. I've done some of it when we were actually yesterday, or the day before yesterday. It was yesterday. We're going to work on these healing hands. And Yogananda said the reason why he's having me paint is we're going to bring in the energy of healing as we're doing this. See, because he said that when you start to have deeper understanding of the spiritual truth, of the truth that's what's going on physically and spiritually. So he said he just had me explain what was happening physically in your brain, right? Your perfectionist mind. He says, but you are not your brain. You are not your mind. But until you are completely enlightened and awake, you have to deal with this body and mind and work with it to start to understand when that programming of the subconscious mind is taking over. Because those neural pathways that are grooved into your subconscious mind are what's getting you caught in it. and wondering like, why can't I make a decision? Or why isn't this good enough? It looks pretty good, but why do I keep seeing it? That's why you're getting caught. Is the groove is so deep, it's a deep groove that he wants me to show you this. So the groove is like this, and here you are stuck, caught in it, and you got these big old walls trying to get out of it because it's been going on for years. So if you're 25, you've made a hole for 25 years of perfectionism. If you're 45 years. If you're 65 years. You can imagine on the physical plane, if you've been on the planet longer, that groove's even getting deeper, right? It's getting deeper, and it feels harder and harder and harder. And what you probably see, Yogananda says, is that you probably see that like that perfectionism has been creating more problems in your life the longer you're on the planet. So he says he wants me to share with you, like when I was in my 20s using it and going to outside sales and being successful and buying my house before I was 30, I was like, woohoo, this is working, this is helping me, right? But as I was on the planet longer and got into my 30s, I started to go, now I feel like this is getting me kind of stuck, because I was in my mid-30s kind of going, I think there's something else I'm meant to do. I think it was around 33, 32, something like that, and I started to realize that life is good, making lots of money, have a house, have cars, go on vacations where I want, but something is missing. Have you ever felt that way? Like something's missing? Well, overthinking, high-achieving women often feel that way when they get to a certain point. Now, I felt I was really lucky that I got that feeling when I was in my early 30s, because I was around 33, 32, 33, I started feeling that way, okay? Most people often don't get it until later 40s, like they start to feel like something's missing. And a lot of times I think people don't, or women don't feel it till then, because you have kids, and they take up time and energy, of which they're supposed to, but those kids make it so that you don't reflect on yourself, on your life, on what you need to do for you. And so it then creates a problem when you get in your later 40s or early 50s, when they're all grown up and gone, that now all of a sudden you really feel like something's missing. Because you have a little more time and space to be aware of that feeling. Now you might be thinking like, what does that have to do with perfectionism? But Yogananda is saying that not knowing your purpose is one of the results of perfectionism. Is that if you don't know why you're here on the planet, if you don't know what your purpose is, it is because you've been kind of caught up in perfectionist mindset of trying to make things a certain way instead of following what's true. He says a clear sign that you are a perfectionist mindset is that you're trying to follow the rules too much. You're trying to do things of what's right rather than what's true. You're trying to get the pain out. You're so caught in the subconscious programming of your perfectionist mind that you can't even tell what is the truth for yourself. So if you don't know what's true for yourself, you often get confused about what's true and what you should do. He says that's a clear sign that you've gotten caught in that. And he's describing all these things because he says that you have to start to recognize it. So he says if you had something when you were growing up that was similar to Deepa, where she was kind of programmed as a perfectionist through criticism, through, her own mother's challenges of needing everything perfect in the house and which I would call dysfunction nowadays, but I didn't back then, then he's saying that your perfectionism. Oh, let me ask him again because I'm so into making a painting. I'm drawing up. I lost it for a minute. He says that if there's anything kind of similar to that in your life of how your perfectionism got created, because sometimes he says perfectionism gets created because you hear something. Because he says the way you get programmed in your life is through what you heard, overheard, what was said to you, what you experienced. And the most traumatic experiences create the most pervasive beliefs. But he said that sometimes you get perfectionism because it comes in with something karmically from a past life, but that you see something that makes you go, oh, this is the way life is. In that, maybe it wasn't traumatic, but that you just grew up with the way, seeing the way life was around you, your family, whatever, and you think, oh, that's just how life is. And thinking life is a certain way that's not true created that for you. But he says if you had any kind of thing that was traumatic for you, then you have to go, okay, it's time for me to heal this. And he says that's where the healing component comes in. And the first part of healing is being aware that there's something to let go of, because that's what healing is. Healing really is just letting go. And you have to acknowledge that first. So part of why he wants me to paint today, and they're asking me to mix this color paint. I mix a lot of things. Is that he said that he wants to talk about painting and connecting, but also how painting, he said that Deepa had a realization many years ago, and I did. I had a realization many years ago that painting, oil painting, was so much like a metaphor for life that also that it gave you an indication when you painted, when you went and you painted, that you could see how you were with your painting, and it gave you an indication of how you were in your life. Excuse me. So what he means by that is, excuse me, if you worry about what other people think, when you go to create art, you'll worry about what other people think. And that can create creative blocks. If you are worried about making mistakes, you'll see that when you're in the process of painting, because as you're painting is a process that there are stages to it, just like life. And in life, oh, he's coming through and telling me something I never even was aware of. Like in life, there are stages. In painting, there are stages. And like in the stages of a painting, you put on the first layer, which this has been long beyond that, and you are putting paint down on the canvas. And I use older brushes because it scrapes the paint. Paintbrushes, it wears down the bristles more, so I'll use older brushes when I do that because the first layer is rough on the paintbrushes. Okay, but when you do it, okay, there's stages in life, right? Well, in the painting, there's stages. There's the first layer, then there's the second layer, there's another layer called what I call the ugly stage, where the painting doesn't really look all that great, but it's an important stage. Sometimes there's even a really ugly stage where, with one of my paintings of Our Lady of Guadalupe, that, I mean, I had to put a gray background, and it just was so, like, not attractive. It was so ugly that when I worked in the art studio at the time, my teacher said, "Ew, you're not keeping it that way, are you?" I was like, "No, no, no. This is just something that I'm supposed to put down. Like I get guidance on what to do." So like right now, I'm getting guidance to mix this kind of blackish, greenish blackish color that's going to go over the burnt umber that's on the edges. We're going to put some of that down. And so we're going to do this here. So that in your life there are stages, and you have to understand that, because if you are a perfectionist, you have a perfectionist mindset, he's saying that what will happen is you'll get stuck in a stage. You'll think, and he's wanting me to explain this, he's saying that, okay, so if you think like your perfectionist self things that you should perform and act on and do everything like you did when you were 20, right? Your perfectionism is going to always keep you caught, because you're going to be feeling like you never do it good enough. I used to be able to do it this way, and I'm not successful at doing it that way anymore. Now, he's not saying you have that. He's saying there are perfectionists of all kinds, and that is one of the challenges of perfectionist mindset, how it's keeping you stuck. It's not allowing you to move to the next stage of realization in your life. And he's saying that in spiritual growth, that is so important, to allow yourself to come to the next stage. And perfectionism doesn't allow you to do that. That mindset, because see, remember I showed you the grooves that you were stuck in? Those grooves keep you stuck viewing life a certain way. And part of being able to grow spiritually is you have to understand that there are stages. And those stages are even happening on the path of awakening, of growing spiritually. Okay? You never are stagnant. Even once you become completely, fully awake, you are not stagnant. And you have to start to understand that in your perfectionist mind. You start to realize, like if you see yourself still going, gee, I wish I could do it this way I used to do it. Or you catch yourself saying, well, I used to be able to do this, but I've not been too successful doing it now, but I want to. And you keep trying to do it that way, the way you used to do it when you were in that stage of being 20. And you're not there anymore. So he wanted to talk about that, because he says that's one of the things that's going on in your perfectionist mindset, is you're stuck in the you're stuck in a stage because you're so deep in the groove that you can't get yourself out of it. So I thought that was interesting, because I'd never thought about it. And I remember for a while there, I was stuck, this was a while back, where when I first started having some vertigo problems, he wants me to share this for some reason, some vertigo problems, I kept like trying to get myself, well, I used to be able to do this, and I was caught in that a little bit, and I was like, I have to let this go. Life is not going to be the same the way it used to be, I'm not that same person. I'm supposed to be different. I'm in a different stage of life on the physical plane. And most importantly, I'm in a different stage on the spiritual plane, because one of my big aspirations and desires is to be self-realized, enlightened in this lifetime. I'm going to back up for a minute. I'm still here. I'm just going to come out of frame to look at the painting a little bit more. I'm like, oh, yeah, it looks much better. So he's really talking about that you want to understand that what's going on in your mindset with the perfectionist mind is that you can get caught in stages, and that's what makes it so you don't move forward in your life. You keep holding on to the stage and the path, the neural pathways are firing off in a certain way, the groove is deeper, and this is the thing, is if you keep having that perfectionist mindset, see, remember he said, here's the groove, right here, here's the groove, we got this groove, here's how deep it is. But as you continue to grow on staying in that perfectionist mindset, the groove just gets deeper. Pretty soon you have a groove that's like this, and you're down here, stuck in that groove. See, so it's like, and then it's really hard to get out because it's going along and it's a deeper groove. The walls are higher to get yourself bopping out of it. And so he says that's what's happening. Now, he says when you see all those little drawings that Deep is doing, it might make you feel like, oh no, like how am I ever going to get out? I'm the ones down here because I've been in this groove for a long time, No, it still can be changed. He wants you to get that. This is not to make you feel like you're stuck with this or lack of hope. He's saying that word, lack of hope. He's saying this is all about giving you hope, because when you start to understand this, you can now get help. See, because she says there's still a way out of here, okay? Now, when it's here, you might have been able to just bump yourself out easily. Well, if you have a deeper groove, it does take a little more effort. Like here, if you see this, you might need somebody throwing a line down to help pull you out, okay? But it can still be done, right? You just go, oh, I'll get help, and someone will pull me out. If it was a little groove, let me say that again, this small groove, let's just say, you had this little groove like here, see, like a small little groove like that, you can bump yourself out easier. You bump yourself out. And that was the thing that I learned, was that when I started to, because I caught my perfectionism in my 30s, not in my 60s, okay? So I was able to bump myself out. I was able to go, oh, I'm caught. Let me stop. We can, let's get in that perspective. Go do something spiritual. That would help me. But as the groove gets deeper, then you might need help. So that's that lifeline. See, the little black line is someone's dropping you a lifeline to help you. And even if you're, have the groove that's not very deep, I got help in the sense of I was always studying spiritually, always doing different self-growth types of trainings, spiritual trainings, and those all were lifelines. Like I'm certified as a yoga teacher, a meditation teacher, have been practicing Buddhism and meditation for like 40 years. And so I started all that younger, so that's probably what made me have the realization when I was in my early 30s of like, I think that I want this to be different. I don't think I want this perfectionism ruling my life. Because if you don't actually learn how to overcome it, it starts to rule your life. And the longer you're on the planet, the more it rules it. And you've probably seen people, have known people, haven't you, where you see as they're on the planet longer, whatever ism they had or things that bothered them are getting bigger. And I've seen that I've watched people who are unwilling to go get healing happening, go get help, or really take their spiritual growth seriously. Whatever isms they have, whatever challenges they're having, they expand. And so if you have perfectionism, Yogananda, the spirit guides, want to help you with that. They want to help you so that you don't keep doing it. And that's one of the things about like doing spiritual practices of like developing your relationship with the spirit guides, understanding what spiritual gifts you really have are so important. So like if you are not completely aware of all your spiritual gifts, I actually have a free giveaway. I'm going to put it up for you. You can go to my website and get thought I had it up here. Maybe I don't. You can go get my free download that, well, I'll put this up. If you go to that's not it. I want deepaloo.com. Well, you can see deepaloo.com. If you go there, deepaloo.com. Yeah, I thought I had it on here. Go to deepaloo.com. You can see it here at the end, deepaloo.com. Go there. On the home page, you can sign up for your free giveaway that tells you many of the spiritual gifts that you have that a lot of people don't even know they have, and the challenge and the first step you can take to awakening it to your gift. And it's a little free PDF that you can download and get the list of those gifts, and also some instructions on how to start to awaken them. Because one of the things we're going to be talking about next week on overcoming your perfectionism is we're going to cover a lot of that, about how do you overcome it, how do you start to awaken your gifts, because part of what does that is the awakening process. So if there's any questions, please put them up. We're going to tune into the spirit guides and see. I'm looking to see if I actually have the right one here, but I guess I don't. Oh, here it is. This is the one. You go here, spiritual gifts. Go deepaloo.com/free-spiritual gifts-revealed. And that will let you sign up for the free PDF. But you can also go to my homepage. Either way works. So if you have any questions, please put them up. I'm going to check in to see if there's any more intuitive downloads. Also, Yogananda is telling me that if you have a question to ask the spirit guides, you can ask. Yogananda is here specifically, but you can also ask if there's anybody else or any other spirit guide that you might be checking. I'm going to check. Oh, yeah. And then next week, we're going to be talking about how to overcome perfectionism. So we've got a few more minutes here. I'm going to just double check. Today, basically all they wanted me to do was just paint that little bit of the outside, which was fun. It was fun and easy. Yeah. We're going to do a little bit more here. One of the things, I always do the sides, even though I don't have to, because it's a portal. I don't put them in frames, and I like to keep the sides. So if there's any questions or anything, no questions. Okay, I'm going to tune in one last bit. The question could be something. If you have perfectionism, a question about it, a question about something in your life that might make things better for you, because this is all about how do we help you in your path of awakening. All right. No questions, it looks like. Let me ask, Yogananda, the heart chakra angel, have anything to say? The heart chakra angel is coming in. And they're talking about, in the heart chakra angels over here, they're talking about the importance of beginning to know what's true in your heart. It's actually one of the most important things that helps you in your path of awakening. It is the doorway to receiving that spiritual guidance, a doorway to knowing what your purpose is. And it says it's a doorway. It's also a doorway to helping you with that perfectionist mindset, to help you heal it, to help you overcome it. We're going to talk more about it, they say, next week, but they really want, the heart chakra angel is really coming through saying how, like, even just right now, the one little practice they want you to do, and this is not even, they're going to talk more about it next week on overcoming perfectionism, but they want you to start the practice of just putting your hands on your heart, because that's just a doorway to your truth. And we've been programmed so much to believe that you're not supposed to follow it, right? You're not supposed to listen to it, that's pipe dreams, that's going to get, that's silly, that's not the answer. And they're saying that you have to make friends with your heart to overcome the perfectionism. Now, they're going to talk more about it next week, so if you haven't joined, please subscribe and turn on your notifications so you can actually get notified of the next live. In fact, I already programmed it, scheduled it in there. But they're saying for now what they want you to do to get prepared for next week on overcoming perfectionism. And they're saying if you know of anybody, like you're here, but you know some people that are perfectionists and they would benefit, please let them come. I'd love to see them. But they're saying to take a moment, especially if you feel like you're suffering from it, you're caught in it. But they're saying even if you're not at the stage where you can recognize when you're caught in it, to just take a moment every day, put your hands on your heart, and welcome in the knowings and inklings of your heart, allowing yourself to feel the energy of your heart chakra. And just notice what you notice. And they're asking you to actually do it now if you're on, whether you're live or in the recording, to put your hands on your heart. Just how I'm doing it, palms down towards your heart. Take a deep belly breath in. And exhale, just allowing yourself to feel your heart chakra angel, to feel your heart chakra. And through your hands, to send blessings of love, joy, and acceptance. And just send those blessings. And they're asking you to be open to the energies, the blessings from the heart chakra angel and Yogananda. Yogananda is actually putting his hands on your head and blessing you with the ability to change the grooves, to change your neural pathways so that new neural pathways are formed. And the heart chakra angel is blessing you with the energy and vibration of allowing you to make friends with your heart. And just sending those blessings through the airways to you. And Yogananda is sending a blessing, specifically he's saying, of energy to the new neural pathways, of knowing your truth, of following your heart, of creating those new neural pathways in your brain, and then allowing you to release the old grooves. And they say this is all in preparation for next week, all right? So they're saying if you're seeing this in the recording, to please do it with them, because they're sending their blessings. All right. I think it's the first time in a long time. It's 4:30. If any last questions, please put it up. I'll give it a couple more minutes to see if you have any questions. Again, if you want to learn more about your spiritual gifts, go and check out the free download that you can get. Obviously, you'll be getting on my list. That way you'll get notified also of other episodes I put out, any classes I'm giving. I've not been very good at this, but I'm planning to start putting up my latest spirit guide portals. I've been completing spirit guide portals and not putting them up, and I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start sending them out to you so you can get the blessings. It's more so the blessings, because each spirit guide comes with a blessing to give you. And they, I've been, what's the word, remiss is the word that's coming up, because I haven't been actually sending them out to everybody, and I'm going to start doing that so you can get on my email list and get those blessings. So, all right, well, no, I don't see any comments or anything, so I want to thank you for coming. The spirit guides thank you and welcome you, and let me just double check. I was doing the thing, I mentioned the live. I think that's it. We got it all covered. All right, blessings to you. We will see you next week. Blessings and love. Take care.